I am here with Mike Koleber from Nitro Swimming. So many cool things that this guy is always doing. What an impact you've had, Mike, on the swimming world and community as a whole. Welcome to the Swim Strong Dryland Podcast, where we aim to highlight inspiring people doing amazing things in the Swim Strong family and in the greater swim community. We're going to dive into all that, but before we do, we got to get to our rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Ready. Fire away.
All right, here we go. First question. You get to have dinner with any celebrity in the world, dead or alive. Who are you picking?
First would probably be Jesus. Second would be Jimmy Buffett.
Two really good picks.
There you go.
Really good picks. How about
Sorry. Jesus, my dad, Jimmy Buffett.
I love it. I love it. How about your go-to meal? If you're going out, best restaurant that you like, chain restaurant that you're going out to?
My wife is a steak eater. She'll do steak 24/7, 3 meals a day. I'll go with the salmon. I'll do salmon.
Love it. How about favorite candy bar of all time for you?
Ooh, that's a good one. There's these little things called Mallow Cups. And you ever heard of those?
I don't. That's actually the first time I've heard that answer on that one.
They look like Reese's peanut butter cups, but they're like marshmallow inside with a little bit of coconut, and they just melt in your mouth. I would go Mallow Cups.
I'm gonna have to check that out. My wife's a huge coconut fan.
Yeah, made by a company called Boyer. Mallow.
All right.
Trust
there
me.
You go. Check it out, people.
I've got a box in my pantry right now.
That's awesome. How about your favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? I've got a few of those. I'm gonna probably go with. Well, I'm a Caddyshack fan, Animal House, Stripes, yes. But I'm going to probably say Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, that's a good one. That's classic. How about, did you have a favorite cartoon character growing up?
Anything Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes. That was how I got my schooling in classical music, from Looney Tunes.
How about your favorite sports idol?
Oh gosh, favorite who would I like to meet? A sports idol is a toughie. I'm gonna probably say anybody from Detroit. I'm gonna say Gordie Howe, Red Wings,
all right.
Barry Sanders, Billy Sims, and Joe Dumars. I'll go with those guys.
For Detroit, I love it. Good stuff. Last question for you. You guys have been in the Swim Strong program for a while. I'm wondering, what's your favorite component of the Swim Strong program?
The guidance, for sure. The guidance and so many facets of it. I mean, nutrition, the leadership component. There's things that you guys provide that nobody else does. But I would probably say overall the guidance. You don't leave us out on an island, and you run a fantastic program. My coaches rave about it. So you make our jobs easier. How's that?
That's awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words. And we absolutely love working with Nitro. It's a blessing to be part of the Nitro family. And thanks for doing the rapid fire questions. You crushed it with very little hesitation. So good stuff. I'm excited to dive into your story now. And as I said, we absolutely love working with Nitro. And obviously a huge part of that, you're running the organization and just the mindset that you have, the vision you've had for the program from the start since you've come in there, and what you built is just absolutely phenomenal. And we've gotten to witness that firsthand. But I'm wondering if you could, just before we dive into some of the details of that, if you could share a bit of your story, your life story, how you got into swimming in the first place, in the coaching field. What's been kind of your path, a quick overview of Mike?
I'll try to go fast. Started taking lessons at 3 years old. My dad was my first teacher. I remember being at a deep end in Flushing, Michigan, at the Tucker Pool, probably 12 feet deep. But as a 3-year-old, it looked like at the bottom of the ocean. And he got me swimming. 2 older brothers, younger sister. We all were swimmers, and baseball and football, and you can name it. We were in it. And started doing the wintertime year-round club with the YMCA team in Flint back in the, we're going back, guys. We're talking early 70s. And I fell in love with it because it's what you did. It's just what we knew, and it was our lifestyle. So swimming became early on. So fast forward, club swimming, high school swimming, at the NCAA level with Oakland University. Shout out to the Grizzlies up in Rochester, Michigan, at Oakland. But Then I had a really bad meet. My last meet ever was I was a fifth year senior, and we went out to Long Beach, Belmont Plaza pool, and I was ranked number one in two different events going to nationals, Division two back then, and it just didn't happen. The arms were 300 pounds each. There was no energy. When you're 21 years old or 22, turning 22, you just don't, you can't fake it. You can't, not when you're 11, you can fake it. Oh, I feel like, hey, come on, you get up there and do it. So 11-year-olds can just go up there and run around a school 10 times, then pop up on a block and get a lifetime best. But when you're 21 and you're just not there physically, that's what happened to me. So for 10 years, I went away from the sport. Took a couple of corporate jobs. I was trying to find my way, which a lot of former athletes have a tough time doing, and I was one of them. My first year out of college, I had 3 different jobs in 1 year.
Wow.
And you start questioning yourself. You start looking in the mirror and going, man, well, maybe I'm the problem. What's wrong? What's wrong with the world? Well, maybe it's not the world. Maybe it's me. So finally hooked on with a company that was decent, spent there 6, 7 years or so. And here I am now. Let's see, I'm probably around the age of 31 or so, sitting in a cubicle. And now I'm 60, but at 31, sitting in a cubicle under fluorescent lights and not making any difference at all. What I felt, not making an impact, not touching any lives, not affecting the future. I could disappear tomorrow. No one's going to know. I remember having a midlife crisis at 34 years old that lasted about 5 minutes. And I was driving late at night. I was seeing Tracy with my wife. We were dating, and I was driving back from her place late on a Sunday night. And I remember at 34 years old thinking, I've been alive now twice as long as when I was a high school senior. And when you're a high school senior at 17, you got the world by the you-know-whats, right? You're king or queen of the world. You're going to conquer it. You're going to have whatever it is that you want out there. The world's your oyster. Here I was now at 34 thinking, what am I doing? What am I really doing? And the sad reality for me, I guess a wake-up call was, the old question is, if you were to put one word on your tombstone, what would that word be? I don't want to get too morbid here with thoughts, but putting one word on my tombstone at 34 years old, the word would have been potential. And I don't know if there's anything sadder than having the word potential left on your tombstone. And so at 34, I said, I got to get busy. Now, so the next question was, what would I do if money was not an object at all?
Yeah.
If I was making enough money to survive and I had a roof over my head and I could eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and a glass of milk every so often, what would I do? And it immediately went back to teach swimming, coach swimming, teach swimming, coach swimming, teach and swim. I'm teach and coach. And so I want to bring up that there's a couple of coaching groups, I'm sure a few out there online. One is I think it's the Swim Coaches Exchange group on Facebook. And I'm telling you what, I hopped on it for a second last night and I hopped off of it because it was one of the most depressing feeds I've read about coaching. And it's everything's wrong. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. And I'm like, good gracious. We talked earlier, manifestation, right? You become, if you're thinking and you're talking, and in fact, Joe Rogan just had something recently on a podcast I just saw pop through on a feed, and it was about depression. And if you talk about your problems and you're thinking about your problems and all the things that are always wrong, where are you going to go? You're going to go where those thoughts are, as opposed to, Eric, you coach, I coach, even on our worst days. I love what I do.
Yep.
Raven Chastain, one of our coaches on our, Raven on our staff.
Yep.
Just
She's awesome.
I talked to her last night. I was on the pool deck at Bee Cave, and then the last couple of days she says, "You know what, Mike? I love what I do. I love what I do. I love it here." And we've got coaches that been with us, 10 years, 11 years, 13 years, coaching with one organization. And, I try to provide a decent living for them. But honestly, happiness has to come from you. Do not depend. Eric, you've got a little one, right?
Coming on the way, a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ease up on your wife right now because guess what? It's not her job to make you happy,
Hmm.
nor is it your job to make her happy. It's too much pressure, responsibility. So if you're looking, I'm talking to coaches out there right now. If you're in that crossroads type thing, you know, oh my gosh, well, if I only had this, I'd be happy. If I only had my own pool, I'd be happy. If I only, I coached outdoors in a rented pool, 6 lanes, 3 feet deep at one end, no wall targets. I didn't know if the water's going to be clear or green
Yep.
from day to day. And if it was green, we did backstroke, you know, and it was nice. We got to do flip turns. And so, but I still, even when it was, you know, cold, sub freezing, mittens, gloves, I'd put a pair of mittens in the heater room, spare
Hmm.
pair, and I'd switch every half an hour, you know, but I love these kids,
That's awesome. That's
you know.
you're hitting on something, Mike, that I think is so important for, I mean, anybody in any career, but we're talking specifically about coaches who impact the lives of youth, right? And are there to be an inspiration, are there to be mentors, are there because you should love it, because it's not like, hey, there's just like so much money in the sport of swimming. That's not really the case. So it's got to be something that you absolutely love. I'm not saying you can't make a great living doing something you're passionate about in the swimming world, but I'm just saying that's not typically why someone starts in the swimming world. It's because you love it. And I can totally relate to what you're saying in terms of, doesn't matter what you're getting paid, doesn't matter what the circumstances are, doesn't matter what equipment you have, doesn't matter what the results end up being. If you don't love what you're doing, like, you shouldn't be doing it, really, is what and I mean, especially coaching. Like, I know there's some people, it's like, hey, I'm in a spot where I'm just trying to support my family and I'm just gritting through my job. There may be a season where you have to go through that. I don't think coaching can be one of those, because there's not enough money in it to justify it. And coaching is such an impact career that you have to be filled up yourself so that you can overflow to other people. And so when you talk about like the like the most recent thread you saw on the swim coaches exchange, where it's just problem, 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 problem. I wonder just how many coaches have forgotten why they got into it in the first place, or maybe they shouldn't be here. It was just something they fell back into. And I don't know, what was it for you when you were 34? You're like, I know I want to coach, I know I want to teach. So you took that leap back into it, and you're still doing it. And you said you're 60 now, so you've been doing it for a good amount of time, and absolutely crushing it. But your passion now is maybe more than it's ever been when you jumped into this. I don't know. You tell me. How do you feel like your passion has changed or transformed over the years? What did that leap look like, and how has your passion evolved?
The biggest difference, I think, for me is that there's so much. You finally get to a point where you realize that there's so much more that you still need to learn, and you just can't stop learning. At when I first got back into coaching at that 34 years old mark, getting back into it was, I thought I knew everything about swimming, you know. But I missed the Barrowman years of breaststroke. I missed Pablo Morales butterfly. I missed that era of swimming. So when I got back into it, you know, backstroke changed a little bit, breaststroke changed, fly. I mean, it changes, right? But that's why I'm on a call every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern time to hear Glenn Mills on Go Swim. He's got a live call every single week. And last week was flip turns. Now, do I know everything about flip turns? I kind of thought I did until I got on that call. And I realized, holy mac, there's so much I don't know how to teach a flip turn, right? Today's call is on resilience. And it's going to be, I forgot, I think it's, oh shoot, Olympian. I think it's Kim Vandenberg is going to be on as a special guest of Glenn's about resilience. Is that not about what this sport's about, right? So for me, there's a point where you realize there's so much more you don't know than what you know, and you can't stop learning. And there's always something to pick up. And so your toolbox continues to expand. And I've been on a lot of webinars where you hear someone say an idea, oh my gosh, I remember that one from 15 years ago. I used to do that. I don't do it anymore. I got to do that again. You know, because you're starting to forget things that you used to know, you used to do. But from going back to the joy part, if you're not, if there's not joy, literally joy inside your heart, find whatever it is that you need to do to try to find that joy. And it might not be swim coaching. You know, for me, I happen to be fortunate enough to realize for me, it's coaching swimming and coaching kids. These little people and teaching swimming lessons and teaching them to adults. 54% of adults can't swim.
That's
And
wild.
so, I mean, all of these type things. And so someone, and think about it, I'm 60. I'm not sure how old you are. I'm going to guess probably 25, how you look.
Well, you look about 15 years younger than you are as well.
Yeah.
So I was going to say you do a good job of staying in shape, but no, I'm 34.
Oh,
So,
34. How funny is that?
yeah.
34.
Yeah.
So realizing then that really think about it, we're still kids. I mean, we're still kids. We want to make people proud of us. We want people to love us. We do. If someone says they don't, I think they're not telling you the truth. We want to be acknowledged positively. We'd love to be made a good example of, something that we did that was good. We all want that. And so, I open up coaching conferences if I'm ever speaking with 2 slides. And the first slide says, all kids are unique. True or false? True.
True.
Next slide. Next slide. All kids are the same. True or false? And it's a trick question. You're going to say automatically false. They're all different, right? We're all unique. How could we be the same? But there are those same characteristics. And above all else, down deep, we all want our parents proud of us, our own parents, our personal parents. We want our parents, even though my mom and dad are gone, I still do things today. I act today thinking, man, I really want my mom and dad proud of me. Man, I hope that made them proud. I hope I made them proud. And so from an playing offense standpoint on our team, I think Nitro, one thing I think that we do a really good job at, and believe me, we're work in progress. And if any coach is speaking on a webinar, a podcast, or at a conference, and they're making it sound like they've got everything figured out, they don't. There's no program out there that's got it all figured out. There's no program. I don't care who you are. If they're honest, they're going to say, man, we got to get better at this. You're always trying to get better, right?
Yeah.
But at every conference, I started with that true and false. Every person's unique. Sure. Every person's the same in certain respects, in certain regards. So, and kids have got great BS detectors. They know if you're not
They
feeling
do.
it, if you don't want to be there, they'll pick it up before the parents do. They just know. And so if you do want to be there, and think about this, those kids walking in, it's I want to present to them or provide for them the haven, the cathedral, the sanctuary. You are safe in here.
Yep.
Forget about what's happening in the outside world, guys. Let's not kid ourselves. The outside world sucks. All right, it is horrible out there. The stuff that goes on every single day. I don't pay attention as much as I used to of what's happening out in the real world because I just don't want to get sucked down that abyss.
Yeah.
Take you into dark places.
Sure.
And so I'm much more protective. You asked how I've changed over the years. I am much more protective over this space. My headspace is so much more protected. I used to be that coach. Hey, coach, great practice. Yay, I'm up here. Oh, man, great meets. Yeah. Oh, man, they swam slow. Coach, what happened? Oh, I'm down there. I'm up here. And you're on this roller coaster. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that coaches make is they get on this, try to get validation all the time. And then they think I'm horrible. Oh, I'm great. Oh, I'm horrible. Oh, I'm great. Or you got to learn if this is the average person, just be somewhere right about here. And just stay there.
Man, that's a really insightful point that you just made that I actually want to ask you a little bit more about because I don't think that's talked about enough. I don't know if we've ever really talked about that on this podcast. And we've had a lot of conversations on here, but I think validation, like looking for validation as a coach. And actually you texted me when we posted something about like insecure coaches a while back, months ago. I remember you reaching out, like such a great post, so insightful, like finding your security, finding your identity, finding your validation in like swimmers' results. It's just so empty. And a lot of coaches are insecure about learning and getting better and asking questions and being humble and inviting help because they feel like, well, my identity is I'm a great coach and my validation as a human or my worth as a human is because I offer a lot in the coaching world because this is all I focus on. This is all I do. And you can get wrapped up in any career, making your whole life about your career and finding your identity in that. It's just simply not true. There's just so much more to you than that. But we hope you're enjoying this week's podcast. We want to take a quick break to shout out our sponsors. Attention, all high school and club swimmers and divers. Are you ready to take your talents to the next level and dive into the collegiate scene? Look no further than ACC Recruiting, your premier destination for college swimming and diving recruitment education. At ACC Recruiting, we specialize in connecting student athletes with the perfect collegiate programs that match their skills and academic aspirations. Our experienced team will guide you through the recruitment process, providing personalized support every stroke of the way. Don't let your dreams sink. Visit ACC Recruiting today and make a splash in your future. Dive into success with ACC Recruiting, where champions are born. Visit our website now or call us at 314-518-8844. That's 314-518-8844. ACC Recruiting, your gateway to collegiate swimming and diving excellence. Resistance bands are a must-have for dry land. Elite Athlete Power Band kits are designed to give you a cost-effective way to improve performance and reduce the risk of injury. These high-quality kits last longer and are versatile enough to provide total body workouts anywhere, anytime. The levels of resistance are ideal for progressing youth athletes without weight increases that are too large. Go to the link provided on the SwimStrong Dryland website, click on the Training tab, and search Equipment Suggestion Lists, and get your Elite Athlete resistance bands today. I know we're all trying to get better in the pool, which requires countless hours of training both in and out of the water. With that, I bet every swimmer has experienced dry, damaged skin and hair, not to mention the itchiness and lingering chlorine smell. I recently discovered TryHard, and after a few great conversations, we decided to team up to improve every swimmer's experience in and out of the pool. TryHard offers chlorine removal products specifically designed for swimmers to remove chlorine, hydrate your skin, eliminate those chlorine odors, and even minimize those annoying goggle marks. It's the perfect post-swim TLC for all swimmers, letting you focus on your sport without worrying about permanent skin and hair damage. If you're interested in learning more, click the link below. They've kindly offered you 20% off to give them a try with code STRONG, STRONG. Let us know your thoughts, and happy chlorine-free swimming. Now, back to our episode. How did you, and how do you now, what advice would you give for coaches to fight that, not find, it's obviously you want to perform, you want your kids to be successful, you want kids to absolutely crush it, but you can't find your validation from that, or you're never going to be as good as you could be, and your joy will just be, like you said, such a roller coaster. And so I'm wondering some insights now from having done this for a while, what you would say about that.
Yeah, those are all great points and great questions. First of all, I love wearing this, right? I wear this Nitro N stuff wherever I go. My wife always says, "Hey, we're going out. Do not wear anything Nitro. Don't wear Nitro, whatever." She'll tell me not to wear it, and I love it. So yes, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't part of my identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not all. And if I'm in the car driving, I've got usually XM 128 is on now, Sirius XM 128. If you don't know what that is, look it up yourself. It's Joel Osteen, and it's positive messages every half an hour. Religious, not religious, that's not the point. It's just you're feeding the good stuff. Now, what does pretty much every coach in the world tell their kids and tell their team to do? Embrace the what? Embrace the what? Finish that sentence.
Process.
Embrace the process,
Mm-hmm.
right? We preach embrace the process. Yet we as coaches don't follow the process. We do this. We're going for the best time, not best time, best time, not best time. But that's all. That's what we do. Why don't we embrace the process? Why don't we embrace the journey? Why don't we embrace the journey? We want these kids when they're 17, 18, moving on to college or whatever, that when they're done swimming and they're in their 30s and they're having kids, whatever, they're getting married, that we get invited to their wedding.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's what I want.
Yep.
When they hang up the suit and goggles, and that's what I've changed. I used to be really, I gotta win, banner. Hey, the banners are great. Yeah, we want to win. Sure, we do. We wouldn't be in this game if we didn't want to win.
Sure.
But our mission statement is at Nitro Swimming, and I know USA Swimming has pretty much the copy paste. We here at Eric Hansen, Swim Strong Dryland, achieve to enhance people's lives through the great sport of swimming. It's just a bunch of words, and it's good. It's all good, right? I really sat down. It took about a minute and a half. And I said, I want something different. I want something to the point. I want something that really is going to identify that if we can accomplish this, then we win the day. Just win the day, right? I want to win the day. Well, how do we win the day? Our mission statement is 9 words. It's 3 sentences. Visible improvement, period. Delivered with passion and joy, period, every day. 9 words. Visible improvement, delivered with passion and joy every day. Now, where do I get my validation? Now, I get it from a smile of a 9-year-old. I get it from a smile of a 7-year-old. I get it from a half a smile from a 17-year-old. Right?
Yep.
I get it from an eye roll of a 15-year-old after I've said the same joke 10 times in the last week, and they do the eye roll with that, oh, you're an idiot. That's where I get my validation. I just want these kids to know that I appreciate the fact that they're there. And I acknowledge the fact that they are there. And at the end of each group, if I'm ever coaching a group now and I pop in, I sub from time to time, and I'll cover, hey, let me have this group. When we get out of the water at the end of every practice, every single time without fail, I'll say, hey, quick, no, can't just send you home. That's the worst thing coaches can do. All right, guys, warm down, easy 50, we'll see you tomorrow. No. Where's the regroup? Where's the connection point? Where's the reason why they want to come back tomorrow? Where's that going to be, right? So seeking validation, if they are or not, I think they are. They won't make me tell you that. Call them out of the water. Hey, real quick, honest answers. Come on, show of hands. Who didn't really feel like going today? Who didn't feel like, come on. Yeah, who didn't feel like coming today? They raise their hands. There's always half, right? Sometimes more. All right, hands down. How many feel better now? How many feel better now as a result of what you feel like after this workout or whatever the workout was? You ask that anybody who goes to a gym, anyone who rides a bike, anyone who jumps on a treadmill, anybody who walks their mailbox and back, anybody who just takes 5 minutes just to stretch. Do you feel better after? Absolutely. Now, there's chemical reasons for that, right? We know that.
Yep.
There's mental reasons, emotional reasons. So you want them. So I tell the kids, now listen, do me a favor, guys. When it's time for next practice, you can't think of what you feel like before practice. I want you to feel what you feel right now. Think about how you feel right now. Because Eric, you still work out, you still exercise.
Yep.
Tell me there are days you don't feel like going or don't feel like starting.
All the time.
You get a couple of reps in the first set, and what happens?
Changes. Your mindset changes. Yep.
You're rolling. So it's discipline over motivation, right?
Yeah.
Discipline all the time. So for us, we're riding these roller coasters. Just freaking take the first step. Be happy. Walk on that pool deck and be glad that people are there. So now, in terms of the last question I ask, I tell the folks, hey, before you leave, find 3 people that you know the least. Find 3 people you know the least, and you tell them, nice job, and use their name.
That's awesome.
You'll be shocked how many people don't know the names of people around them. They don't know them. You know why? Because of our devices.
Yep.
And we're locked into this world, and we're no longer locked into this world. And so you got to get them face to face. And next thing you know, guess what? The whole group is walking off the pool deck together, and they're all talking.
That's
so if
awesome.
you want to build a team, start building your team.
Yeah, that is like such simple details that you don't see on most pool decks that I think a lot of people could take that and just what you just said and use that at the end of every practice. And that's how you start to build a more in-depth, solid team culture where people know each other's names, where people care about each other, where people are focused on the process that we were talking about before, that it's not just about how you feel, it's about what about after I'm done? How am I going to feel after I accomplish this thing? What are the mental, physical, emotional benefits of doing this, even if I'm not feeling that in the moment when I start? That, and then educating and reminding them of how they felt before, how they felt after, and then they have something tangible to take away and take from that the next time they feel that, and then they learn to really be stronger with dealing with different emotional things that come their way that might keep them from being successful in the future. And I've gotten to witness too your passion firsthand on deck with the youngest lessons. I think that's something that I've always admired about you, that you've been doing this for so long, and you know, love seeing the kids be successful, and you want to see the top level absolutely crush it. But you have a passion for every level, and you specifically love helping people fall in love with the sport. And watching you coach lessons of young kids, as if it was your first day ever on deck. When I came to Nitro, I've seen it a couple different times. It was just amazing. I mean, just wicked
Yeah,
inspiring.
Eric, thank you. I get that from my dad, but there's two things. First of all, I want to say real quick, there's so much data at our fingertips, right? There's blue zones, red zones. There's lactate testings, all the energies, all the stuff you do, periodization, and where we are in the season plan. But I think sometimes you forget about. Let's just get back to the feelings. The feeling. What's the feeling? What's the mood? There's some basic raw emotion that goes into swimming and having to do what we do, having to do what these kids do every day, these swimmers, these athletes. But as far as the littlest kids come in, I mentioned earlier about trying to be a haven, a cathedral, a sanctuary type thing. These little ones have not, the world hasn't kicked their teeth in yet.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had their hearts ripped out and stomped on by something yet. They still think that everything's great in the world. And so for the good gracious, for the life of me, I'm going to give them my 30 minutes to preserve that. And if I can preserve it for at least 30 minutes more, and I can give that, and we don't know what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Any you've seen this on the pool deck, any swimmer, anybody who walks behind me or around me, you're coaching a group, you've got this 360 vision going around your head. As soon as the kid's walking by, boom, my arm goes out behind me for a hand slap.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. I don't usually say much at that point. If I'm in the middle of something, even if I'm in the middle of a heated set and I'm saying something, boom, the arm goes back, they hit my hand. What was the message that I just gave that person?
You see them.
I see them.
Mm-hmm.
They're acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, the pink Cadillac lady, at the cosmetic company,
Yeah.
pink
Yeah.
cars. She's passed away a long time ago, but she had her corporate headquarters are in Dallas, and I read some things about her. Every day, whoever she would encounter, she imagined on their forehead were the words, "Make me feel important today."
Hmm.
Make me feel important today. That's what people are clamoring for.
Hmm.
That's what people are not getting.
Hmm.
They're not getting that. And if you can provide that as a coach and start doing it and start today, if you're not one of those types of people, just do it today. Acknowledge every single kid, have a smile on your face, and just remember the joy of why you're approaching this. And if your validation can be that smile of the 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 15-year-old, 17-year-old, ask them a question that you haven't asked before. Hey man,
Yeah.
how's school going? You start becoming more than somebody who just writes workouts on the board and screams at them because you're not holding the streamline long enough.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more to this.
That's
And
good.
anyways, that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing all that, and just coaching wise too. If you can get what you said about being, in or at your swimmer's wedding one day when they grow up, and being a part of something so important in their life, I feel like if that is more of the focus and the mindset of like, how do I make them feel important, be a part of their lives, genuinely care about them, and set them up for life, as opposed to just trying to be moving as fast as we can back and forth in this pool, which is important. And we're competitive, like you said, and we want to do the best we can, but it's for a season. It's for a short time. And eventually they'll move on. And if you can have that perspective, all of a sudden the ups and downs, I think, change quite a bit, because now it's not about every single swim meet and every single result. It's like, did I care well for these kids today? Did I love them well today? Did I make them feel important today? And if you're doing that and that's your focus, you're freed up to be a coach. You don't have to worry about every little result and push your stress on these kids and lack joy in it, because you now have a much bigger purpose that frees you up to be you and to enjoy it and let the results play out and trust the process, embrace the process, like you were talking about. And so I just think that's really a lot deeper than people realize. And do you still have a little bit of time? I know we're over the time I
I got
mentioned.
time. But that's never ending. That's a never-ending process, right? But that's the joy. If you can continue to capture the joy, there's no end to it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a book here I've been reading, but halfway through right now. It's called The Infinite Game. It's
Hmm.
Simon Sinek. You know Simon.
I love Simon. Yeah.
Yeah, the Infinite Game. It talks exactly about that. It doesn't end. And again, as I get older, I'm trying to get a little wiser. I'm trying to learn more, right? Becoming a better student. But when we do everything even perfectly, and you've executed a season plan, and everything was freaking spot on and beautiful, there's no guarantee it's going to pop out right at the results at the end of whatever that championship shave meet, breast meet is going to be. In all likelihood, it doesn't happen the way you want it to happen. So then what do? Right? So for us, and we do communicate with the parents, guys, here's what our jobs are. Yes, we want the kids to love the sport. Yes, mom and dad want you to unconditionally love your kids, unconditionally, regardless of a performance at a swim meet.
Yep.
5 words. It's just a swim meet. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
swim meet, right? However, if you want to go from a performance standpoint, our jobs is to try to increase the odds to the greatest that we're going to actually see a positive result. We're trying to do our best to increase the odds, increase the chances. We want to increase the chances that we're going to have a great performance on this date, on this time, at this pool. We're going to increase the chances. Is it going to happen automatically? We don't know. No one knows that. We hope, but it's so many variables that we can't keep track of as coaches. What's the sleep patterns of these kids?
Yep.
Are they up till 2 or 3 in the morning doing their Snapchat stuff? Are they eating like crap with mallow cups, like I mentioned? Are they? I eat a mallow cup once in a while. I don't eat everything. And but diet, rest, hydration, all the things that you propose that you guys work on with Swim Strong Dryland. There's other components. We only see them for X number of hours a day.
Yep.
Within our control, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
And we can't take it personally. You just can't take it personally. Yeah, it hurts. It stinks when your swimmers don't do what you think they should do, especially the ones who do it all right. They do it right. They do everything right. And you want that, man. If I'm going to lay some money down, boom, on this kid right here, watch his performance. Oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere.
No, you're spot on. It's just a totally different perspective, and it doesn't take away from the performance aspect. It actually adds to it, in my opinion. When you have that mindset, you are freed up to actually care for and coach your athletes in the way that best suits them. It's best for them, and it's best for you. And the joy, if your joy is not there, the results are going to be less. It's just always the case. Anything that you,
remember from a purely performance standpoint. Now, remember when we had the government shutdown thing a couple of years ago? When the kids came back, they were posting lifetime bests in a short amount of time. Across the board. Holy, what happened here?
Yep.
So maybe the model that I grew up in, which was pound, get them to physical, just on the verge, the cusp of physical breakdown, and then start bringing them back, right? And Christmas training was a beast. You're broken apart, and then you've got January, February, and you come back in March for that one meet. If you get sick during that time, if you get injured during that time, if something doesn't quite go right during that time, and your complete body of work then is I won't say torn apart, but it's so much extinguished compared to what you should have done. Oh man, I can't believe this is a great year. Boom. It's almost like the season goes down the drain then to these kids. And so what's kind of changed, at least for our mindset, I know at Nitro, is that we're not pounding consecutively anymore. We're not trying to get these kids down to the point where they can't function. No. And I know Kevin Lai, one of our coaches, and Charlie, we try to keep our kids 2 weeks away from being fast. They're always 2 weeks away.
That's awesome.
2 weeks away. There's enough to be 2 weeks away. And you know what? Who's to say what's right? Who's to say what's right? Look what's happening in college.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
they're so fast in October and November. They were so fast.
I mean, even what you just mentioned is, to me, like a characteristic of great coaching is being able to adapt, adjust, try out different things and see, oh, wait a minute, we have this new data sample and this is what the results were. maybe there's something we could do a little better. I know we've done a great job and we've had great results before. Maybe they could be a little bit better. And, maybe, you know what, maybe if kids aren't constantly just beat down throughout the season, maybe they'll be happier. Maybe they'll stay in the sport longer. Maybe they can perform and swim fast many times throughout the year. And even if they don't, if they're not beat down, maybe they'll love it and stick with it and be able to embrace that process a little more. If it's a little more than just, hey, this one meet per year that we're focused on, the rest of the year kind of stinks. Like that's
Well, yeah, and as a former swimmer, I mean, I still swim for fitness and fun, but as a former competitive swimmer, what was the absolute hardest practice to go to? The actually hardest practice to go to was the one following a subpar meet.
Hmm.
When you had a bad meet or your performance were so far off, you're just exhausted, you're tired, it's a bad whatever it was weekend. That Monday morning or Monday night, whatever your next practice was, did you really want to go? You start questioning yourself. Why am I doing this? Why am I? My friends are all going to movies. They're having fun. They're doing this. I've got to get back in a suit, and I've got to jump in a pool. It's cold, and I've got to. Especially when you're doing the 2-a-days, and your suit hasn't had a chance to dry yet. Remember how bad that feeling was? Putting on that wet, cold suit, knowing you got a morning practice, you're
Yep.
jumping in, the sun's not even up yet, and so. But what if you could change that narrative? So
Mm-hmm.
what if you take a little bit extra rest, a little bit, and you have a kid pop a meet, tell me what the best practice is. It's the next practice because now they're excited. You've changed everything. So Arizona State, I know Herbie and Bob, when Bob was there, they were suiting up for a lot of their dual meets years back, right?
Mm-hmm.
For several years. And they've been a work in progress. Everything, oh, Arizona State, where'd they come from? Man, you weren't there when they were building this thing. And they
Mm-hmm.
were grinding it. They were doing it. So they do their dual meets a lot of times suited up. You ever notice? Remember the comments from those? Yeah, but they're
Oh
suited
yeah.
up.
Oh
Yeah, but
yeah.
they're suited up. Well, anybody know what they did last year?
National champions.
They won the Nationals. And you know what they did? First time ever, they had 4 guys averaging 40s on their 400 free
Crazy.
relay,
Crazy.
averaging 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say, what's right? I kind of tend to move to the people who are actually getting it done. So, shout out to Bob and Herbie and
Yeah.
for
No,
doing what
man.
they're doing.
That's great insight, and I appreciate you are a passion and joy, but insight and knowledge. And I would encourage everybody listening to this to Mike. One of the most striking things about Mike since we started talking years ago is just not just his love for the sport, but just how much he's always a continual learner and how much I learn from him. Every single conversation I've had with you, Mike, I've taken something away. Personally and professionally, and you're always open with your time, and no matter how busy you are, like you'll always find a time for people who are hungry to learn and grow. You spend time mentoring is something you're passionate about, and I would encourage people to ask questions and reach out. And there's a couple final things I want to just ask you about real quick because and I mean, we'll probably have to do this again because it's just not enough time on here, honestly, with all the things you have going. But you guys there's 2 big things within the past year or 2 that have happened. One recent, the Kyle location, a 3rd location for Nitro just opened up that you're now giving opportunities to people in that area. I want to hear a bit about that. And then you also started a swim lessons program for adults, and you have a social media account, which, by the way, check him out. Coach Mike Nitro. Swim Coach Mike is another swim coach account, which is great too. Coach Mike Nitro with over 1 million followers on social media. So you became a social media sensation.
That's
But
crazy. That was crazy.
you're always thinking, you're always growing, you're always giving back, and you're always making an impact. Can you talk just a little bit about the vision behind the Kyle location and Nitro's growth, and then the Coach Mike Nitro account and what you're trying to do with that?
I'll start with the Kyle location. A number of years ago, with our oldest Cal, who's now 24, and our youngest Kembry, who's 20, they were kind of moving out that high school range, college, and moving beyond. And Tracy and I kind of were sitting around saying, "What do you think? You want to go 3rd location?" And I'm like, "Ooh," because there's the old expression of the old lady that says she always wishes her family, instead of "I wish you success, I wish you happy, I wish you love," it's "I wish you enough."
Hmm.
Right? Whatever that answer, I wish you enough. Whatever enough is for you, whatever that is for you, I wish you enough. And we had 2. 2 indoor 50 meters, and they're robust, and they're jamming, they're good, and there's a lot of lessons going on, and we're teaching a lot of swimming, and it keeps us real busy. And then it's like a third one. I'm like, ugh, I don't know. And in 2007, Nitro Cedar Park opened for $4.5 million.
Wow.
Very, very primitive. It's a metal building over 2 holes full of water. It's got a couple of bathrooms. That's it. And I tell people that if you come in, that's what it's going to be. It's a metal building, rusty garage doors, 2 big holes full of water. One's 50 meter, one's 20, one's not even 20 yards. The lessons pool is 25 feet by 59 feet. And that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was $4.5 million, but it was our first, it was our baby. And so to this day, now we've got a third one. I'm sorry, Nitro Bee Cave came along, 2011, west side of Austin, about $6.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, tiny bit bigger, little, I guess, more amenities in terms of stucco type wall. It was a tilt wall building, a little fancier compared to Nitro Cedar Park. I mean, ooh, look at Nitro Bee Cave. Well, then fast forward to 2025, and we just opened up Nitro Kyle a couple of weeks ago. It's over $13 million.
Wow.
Now, again, a great facility with the spectators and seats and climate control and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be probably 20, $25 million.
Wow.
We did this one for 13, and it's beautiful, and I'm loving it. And the lighting is fantastic. These LED lights, you walk in, it's like the heavens open up when you walk in this pool. Compare what we have. However, people say, what's your favorite? All right. I love them all. And no offense to BK folks, no offense to our Kyle folks, the Cedar Park location is my favorite. And it's my favorite because it's just raw, and it's just guts, and it's energy. And we've got a lessons pool right next to the big pool. You've been there before.
Yep.
And you can hop out of one pool, walk about 8 feet, and jump in the other pool with no dividing. So
Yep.
the loudness level up there it's Grand Central Station. But every single parent who's watching the lessons program, they look 8 feet beyond, and they see our coaching staff in full speed, going what they do and what they do every day. And so it's a really cool place to be, because it's really hard to have a bad day as a coach when you're surrounded by other coaches who are bringing their A game. So you've got to elevate. Imagine playing basketball with Jordan every day. Michael Jordan or whoever,
Yep.
or John Moran or somebody who's a great ball player. If you're around those types of coaches, you can't help but get kind of swept into that energy.
Yeah.
So for me, Nitro is kind of described, I define it more as an energy, more of a feeling. And that's why we did the third one. I can't even tell you why, honestly. Just, okay, we got a third one now. And there's a point where you start lessening your risk. You put a few more legs on the stool, and if something happens to one of the legs, a meteor hits us and blows off the roof of one facility. Hey guys, temporarily, let's move over here for a little bit while we get this other one repaired.
Yeah.
So there's some safety and a little comfort and insurance, reassurance knowing we have that. As far as the social media goes with the Adult Learn to Swim, I've always done a pretty good job of teaching adults, and I've had a lot of our folks are from different countries that come and swim, that live here, but they're from originally different countries.
Yeah.
They've all, oh my gosh, you got to come visit India. You got to come to Malaysia. You got to come to Nigeria. All these places. And I'm like, I can't go to India or Nigeria or Malaysia. I'm coaching over here. And so I started thinking, is it possible to teach people how to do something like swimming from an online perspective, from a video type recording, from a course? So I started putting something together and put some videos out there, and had a good company help me. And this one video just went nuts. And it was the one where it's the blue jeans. And you take off, we all learned it when we were taking lifeguarding class, right?
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I hadn't done it since I was 16 years old in lifesaving, lifeguarding class. So here I am now at whatever, it's 58 or so is when I did it. I'm 60 now. And hey, film this, get it ready. Held the phone up there. Hey guys, what happened to you falling with your pants on? And so I got in the water, and I take off the jeans, and I tie the legs together, and you splash the air bubbles inside the waist, you cinch up the waist, and you pop your head in through the legs, and you lay back and you float. Well,
you were on ESPN with that one, right? That was the one that got on ESPN.
Yeah, I hadn't done that in 40 some years, and it took me 2 times to hold my breath, to get the pants off. And just off of memory, I did it. And Jennifer Garner, the What's in Your Wallet lady that you
Yep.
see on TV, she happened to see it, and she shared it with like 5 million people. And then ESPN calls me and says, "Hey, we want to put this on our website for Sports Center." This was a couple of Christmases ago, and I said, "Sure, go ahead." And the account just went nuts. And I think that video to this date is like 30 or 40 million
Wow.
views. It's just
Wild.
that one went nuts, and
Mm-hmm.
that's exciting.
It
But
is.
but I am helping. I get emails and comments from people on the other side of the world saying, "You taught me how to swim,"
Hmm.
and several of them are using my little course to help supplement their own in water course. They say, "What you taught me really helped me here." So it's very matter of fact body position. There's certain irrefutable facts and laws of swimming, which is physics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Every action equal opposite reaction. And with adults, you can explain that to them and they understand it more. And it's so satisfying because a lot of these folks had near drowning experiences.
Hmm.
They were thrown in as a kid. They were taught to get away from the water, you're going to die. And so that's all that they know. And so, what are you most afraid of? What's your phobia? Give me a phobia.
I would say spiders.
Okay, mine's snakes. So mine are snakes.
Thanks. Yeah.
So yours are spiders. So imagine you signing up for a course that's going to be what's the is it arachnophobia?
Arachnophobia, I think.
Or is
Yeah.
it- So imagine it's going to be conquering your arachnophobia, hands-on experience with spiders, and you actually make the phone call or online and you register. So you pull into the first night of class. Do you want to even walk in?
No.
You are white knuckle on that
Not at
field.
all.
And so that's who we're teaching how to
Hmm.
swim when they're adults. And
Wow.
if you can put yourself from an empathetic standpoint in their position and see it through theirs. And in fact, before we leave, this is probably my number one parent tip in swimming and coaching anything youth athletics. My number one tip to deal with parents
Mm-hmm.
is understand before you meet with them, before you say anything, before you email them, before you go off on them saying, "How dare you come into my practice, this. Before you do that, allow yourself at least 5 seconds, flip it around, and inside your head say, I know that all that these people want is what they believe is what's best for their child.
Mm-hmm.
I know that what they want is what they think, they believe is what's in the best interest of their own child."
Hmm.
When you can do that, now you're going to go talk to them and you're already thinking they want what's best for their child. That's all that
Hmm.
they want. It
Hmm.
changes the dynamic of your conversation. It should change
Yeah.
your approach considerably.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, so many gold nuggets, pearls of wisdom here. I think that people watching can take away from this. And Mike, I'm sure you've gotten the chance to do this. I hope you have, but to sit back and think about, man, from when you made the decision to get back into coaching to the impact that you've had and are having on people in Texas on Nitro Swimming, from the youngest kids starting the sport to seniors moving on and swimming in college and making waves, at the highest levels, to teaching adults around the world to swim, to building a business, to mentoring coaches, to impacting the swim community and moving it forward in all kinds of different ways. I mean, just being a part of there's so many things that I hope you get to sit back and realize, like, wow, like this is the impact that I've been able to make, and you're still going, like you're never, and the joy is there. And I would love for coaches to hear this and just see what joy and passion for what you do and a desire to be great at it and leave a legacy can lead to. And it's just, you can't have a conversation or listen to this guy talk without being inspired. You just can't. And so,
Thanks.
Mike, I
Thanks.
appreciate your time on this podcast. This is going to be super valuable for everybody who listens. And thank you for all that you do for the swimming world. Thank you for allowing Swim Strong to be a part of your life and the Nitro family. It's such a blessing. And we'll have to do this again. But I really appreciate your time and for everything you do, Mike.
Man, Eric, love is returned, man. You were doing a fantastic job with Swim Strong Drive. We love your organization, and keep doing what you're doing. You are doing it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch a new episode each Monday. You can also check us out on social media at SwimStrong Dryland. If you would like to join the SwimStrong family, visit our website at swimstrongdryland.com.